And then we're gonna hand it over to Justin. Woo! UPS is here for me. This bike is crazy. What up, Block fam? Well, welcome to today's episode where we have a very in-demand motorcycle. We've gotten countless questions, comments, requests for this thing. This is the Buell Super Cruiser. Kind of one of those bikes that has come to market disrupting, I would say, a little bit. It's got a lot of attention, it's got a lot of traction, no pun intended, especially because of the power plant. UPS is here for me. I'm not super versed on this thing, but I am going to introduce you guys to a person that is. This is Jacob.
So I've been with the new iteration of Buell for 4 years now. Kind of a specialist in the Buell brand, comparable to like a systems engineer.
Okay.
Right, help the engineers connect this to that. Oh, this is how we do this is why we did that. Trying new things, accessorizing, iterations of bikes, future products.
So what can you tell us about this bike? You guys have been working on it towards release for 2 years, 3 years? How long has it been?
It's been just under 2 years.
Yeah.
We had commissioned Roland Sands with the concept. We went back and forth for a little bit and we came up with the Super Cruiser concept. It debuted in February, and then by that summer, we had started with all new designs, new direction, new components, and we had 6 months to get a whole new package put together for Daytona last year. We call that the V1. V2 is like reiteration of that in Sturgis. And then V3 is the full production intent, what we have here in front of us. Dual disc, box suspension, that's new. We like to try new things and we like to have fun. We like performance.
What are we talking in terms of the power plant, the engine? You know, what are you guys calling it? What are the power numbers like on dyno?
Crank rated horsepower is right around 175 horsepower. Yeah. And if people go, why has it gone down from the legacy bikes that are 185 horsepower? From a packaging standpoint, we've moved away from shower head injectors on the legacy bikes to package a conventional tank here. So the airbox volume has gone down a little bit. We got rid of the secondary injectors, and for tuning to make the bike more street friendly, reducing the peak horsepower to give you some more mid-range, you know, more usable power.
A little bit more of a balance.
Yeah.
What do you guys calling the engine?
It's our 1190 V-twin. We don't have any special names in-house for it. It's an iteration of EBR 1190 that they call the ET V2. Stood for East Troy V2. Micro improvements, but it's still the base 1190 that, you know, EBR used to run.
Do we have ride modes, any adjustability, like electronic assistance?
Even Eric Buell Racing had a little bit of this philosophy. This is a rider's bike. So we don't have a whole lot of the electronics, those aids. We do have traction control that's shared from the legacy bikes, 20 levels there, 21 if you count off. No drive-by-wire, no ABS, no anti-wheelie.
It's you and the bike.
It's the rider and the bike.
Yeah.
The technicals, 27 degrees rake there. V3s, we move the seat height up a little bit for slightly more ground clearance. We move the oil cooler down there at a steeper angle to get more clearance there. But that low center of gravity really helps it feel lightweight, nimble.
Right.
And when you get on it, you'll be able to feel how easy it is to just pick this thing up and move it around. We have a version of the quick shifter, also be an option. We have the race tip kit, which you can see on the bagger over here. That's another shared component with our legacy bikes, the race tips. We get a little bit more throaty sound.
Yeah.
This bike over here, we're not showing it because those are things we're going to offer. We wanted to show that we're working with aftermarket suppliers and to accessorize. So working with Advent Black, Viking Bag, Saddleman, of course, Clockworks there. And we have a few more that are lined up as well.
Do we have an estimated completion or date of release for them?
The first production units we're shooting for fourth quarter of this year to get the first batch of them out. and then we're going to really ramp up into the following year production. Our sales team is getting out there, contacting people. We're going to be calling you in the order that it was placed. Get in line to receive one.
I guess next up would be throwing a leg over them. Let's take them for a rip.
Let's stop talking already.
Stop talking, get to riding. Alright, so here's the plan, guys. Justin and I are going to get our experience test ride, first ride on the Buell Super Cruiser. Justin is going to be on the Yamaha R6, and then I'm going to basically throw a leg over this thing. We'll go rip it. The guy said it's like a 45-minute test ride, so we're going to go halfway, and then we're going to hand it over to Justin. Go from there. So you guys are going to get multiple perspectives. Do me a favor, be sure to go give this guy a follow. Life of Justin James. Alright, key right there. First initial thoughts, feedback. This thing is like stripped down, like he was saying, it's literally a rider's bike. It definitely does not like being in like a lower RPM. You can kind of feel it. Starting from the left, working our way over on the left side. Clutch, mirror, down mirror, undermounted, so under the bar. High beam, low beam switch. You've got your left, right indicator. You've got your horn. Beep, beep. The clutch side, this is a Brembo Master. Working our way into the middle, you've got this display, RPMs at the top, speed in the middle, tells you that traction control is currently off. Gear indicator on the right tells me that high beams are on. The bars are nice and narrow. It makes it feel very, very sporty. And then the geometry of the bike with the wheels, man, it's so lightweight. So flickable. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of the feeling that I got from my Yamaha MT-09 SP. The grips being smaller definitely give it that like more aggressive feel. Grab a handful of throttle tuck and just let it eat. Moving over to the right side, we've got obviously throttle, but you're on, off, and then starter at the bottom there. Brembo on the Master. Controls are rear sets, right? They feel like rear sets. It feels like a sport bike. It's funny because it's called a super cruiser, but it feels like a sport bike. So I think it's a sport bike in cruiser form. It's like a sport bike in cruiser clothing. I don't even know what the hell these buttons do, but we're just gonna start pressing them. Pressing the middle one. That changes the key trip. So key trip, distance to service, odometer, trip A, trip B. So key trip I would assume is this trip. Brakes feel nice. All right, guys, we are gassed up.
So there's a lap timer, there's service intervals, diagnostics, including check engine codes, and full live data. It's
damn.
all in the dash.
Oh, throw the leg back over it. God, lifting this thing up is just crazy. You do have to be in neutral. Cranks up. Sheesh. Yeah, this bike. It's a fucking sport bike, guys. Woo! Sheesh. Oh, braking feels good. Wow, holy shit. This bike is fucking crazy. Sounds rowdy. This bike is a wolf in sheep's clothing, guys. I imagine this thing would just absolutely handle the twisties. So the power to weight ratio on this thing is just going to be incredible. Premium suspension, premium braking. It's a rider's bike. It just feels very visceral. I'm really curious to get Justin's thoughts on this thing. It's pretty cool too, because with the rear sets, you pretty much stand up. Man, it really starts to turn on once you get into those higher RPMs. Oh my God, dude. It's kind of funny whenever you get onto like a bike like this, you quickly realize like, okay, like you can feel its potential. I am very much mature perspective that like, I'm not gonna ride to this bike's capabilities. I'm definitely not going to do it the justice that it deserves. So on that note, all I can say is for you guys to get what I'm talking about is to go out there and try to find a test ride on one yourself. I'd really love to hear it with a non-EPA exhaust, you know, since Buell is considered an OEM, right? They are making these motorcycles for the consumer. They do have to abide by EPA and DOT guidelines, right? That front end wants to come up. I mean, you downshift and just all it would take is me like pulling back a little tiny bit. And they got the seat to hold you in, the Saddleman step-up style, which is a good thing. The amount of power this thing has, definitely needs something to hold you in. What a beautiful road, full of traffic. Damn, I left my blinker on for a long time. Noob. So, hey guys, it doesn't have self-canceling indicators. Twisty portion. Imagine we're gonna catch up to these people real quick. Alright, I don't feel like we're anywhere close to scraping. Holy shit. This thing feels great. And like I said, we are caught right back up. Oh shit, it just pulled up a wheelie. I'm terrible at wheelies, so I will not be trying that on a bike that I do not own. Well, the front tire came up a little tiny bit. I did a baby wheelie on it. Yeah, it's pretty effortless. Like the front end on this thing, you drop a gear and it just won't stop. You didn't have to clutch dump or anything, literally just like 36 miles per hour, 4,000 RPM. Holy fuck. My heart is racing just from that. Jesus. I feel like there's 2 points that kind of like it starts to pull, like it turns on, and then it's like starts to pull even harder. Usually you'll have like a spot in which it wakes up where like VVT or like, you know, the cam really like turns on. I guess it's appropriately named. It's not just a cruiser. It's a super cruiser. Maybe that's where they got the idea from. Super sport, super bike, but instead of sport, it's cruise. So super cruiser. Maybe that's where they came up with the name. That makes sense to me. I will say for a bike that has this amount of power, the clutch feels great. Obviously it's a hydraulic clutch, so you got that assistance there. A lot of times for this amount of power for it to be held in, you need like some really stiff clutch springs. I'm sure it has them, but with a hydraulic clutch, really helps with that clutch lever feel. Honestly, I don't know much more to say about this thing. Like, I am thoroughly impressed. You know, I wasn't going into this thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be absolutely wowed by this bike, but seriously, it's very impressive. Coming over to Daytona, I rode my 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide, which is 135 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 supercharged. I mean, coming off of that, coming onto this, power to weight ratio on this thing is just incredible, and everything feels super premium. The suspension feels great, like going over bumps and stuff like that. It doesn't feel pogo-y, it doesn't feel too squishy. It feels really nice. It really makes me miss my Hyper Naked bike. Honestly, it reminds me so much of that bike, like just the feel of it, but the ergonomics are so different. Here's a cool spot. All right, guys, so this is the point at which I'm gonna hand it over to Justin. You guys are gonna get his thoughts and opinions, so you ready? Yeah. Take the thing, bro.
All right, what's up? Now I am in control, about to throw a leg over the Buell Super Cruiser. This is all for my short kings. I believe you said it was like a 31-inch seat height. It looks tall. Oh my Lord. All right. Being at an impressive 5'6". Definitely on both tippy toes. Away from being like a short guy and getting on this, I will say once you're on it, it does feel really nice. I'm a fan of these, I guess we're gonna call them mids. I do like the shifter is a little bit more tucked into the engine. It feels very sporty. I mean, having these mids make me feel a little bit more in control of the bike. I love the handlebar setup with the risers and the handlebar. Oh my God, yeah, I'm in second gear. This thing's got some pull. I'm a fan of all bikes. I'm a big fan of super sport bikes. So I really love how this is kind of blending both of those worlds together in an impressive V-twin package. Let's talk a little bit about this gauge. I like that. It tells you what gear you're in, RPMs up top, and it looks like it's ringing out at the red line at about 11.5. That is amazing. The stance of this bike just feels very like you're on top of the bike, and I like that. This feels very aggressive, yet comfortable. I love that the seat is like a step-up seat, so I feel nice and planted. The handlebars are coming a little bit right below my chest. Woo! Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, there's an interesting power band. I wasn't looking at what speed we were going, but there's definitely an interesting power band. Woo! Where you feel that. Oh my God, the freaking Brembo Master is amazing. I mean, I've ridden a few bikes with the Brembo Masters that are stock, and the braking is so impressive that you really need to be careful with how you, you know, apply it. If you're used to not having a front Brembo Master, it's definitely very touchy and very strong. Going the second, oh yeah, the engine braking is nice. If I'm coming up to a curve and I'm gonna go ahead, downshift, engine brake, and kind of get ready before I go into a curve, it's smooth. Sometimes when you downshift on a bike, it could really throw everything forward. This is where it gets a little interesting. There is no way at a stop that I'm gonna be able to use both feet. Like, and on the very tippy toes of my feet. So with that being said, if you are a shorter rider and you're considering this bike, I don't know if I would go with this bike if height is an issue to you. This dude's pulling it up for a wheelie. I don't know if I could do that. Woo! Okay. Let's go! All right, clearly this thing is more than capable enough to pull up a wheelie so easy. I'm gonna try that again. Woo! Let's go, baby! That is amazing. This thing is crazy, dude. The suspension feels really nice, able to just dip right into these turns. And these are not the most impressive roads back here. I still feel confident going through because of the suspension on this thing. I know that it being a tall bike may be an issue for some of you guys, but it being tall is the reason you get something like this. Obviously, if you want to pull up a wheelie, obviously if you want to dip that right into the curves, this thing is more than capable of it. I bet this thing is nasty at rolling burnouts. With the dual disc, Brembos, and the master cylinder, oh my God, this thing could probably just eat rolling burnouts, man. It's got this little fairing right here, but really, I mean, it's really just shooting air right into my head. On his, they fitted an ST fairing, so I'm sure that is plenty of wind blockage. But for this stock one, you will have to fight a little bit of that helmet buffeting. If you're coming from the Harley world, these turn signals do not auto cancel, so it's very similar to metric bikes where you'll have to push to cancel. I noticed that this guy has his turn signal still on. John was riding and I was behind him and his turn signal was stayed on. If you're coming from Harley where it auto cancels the signals, just know that this bike doesn't. Very similar to metric bikes. I'm gonna go ahead and just say this right now. If I had the money, or if I was even to trade my Street Bob in, I would definitely get this bike. I love this thing, dude. And that's just me. I like a very performance-driven cruiser bike, and this is hitting it on so many levels. Good job, Buell. The way that this bike just handles, the way that the braking is, the power delivery. I'm gonna go in sixth gear. I'm going 50 miles per hour, twist the throttle, and there's still plenty of grunts to just get you, even if you were like in the wrong gear. And if you guys are not familiar with the Buell brand or Eric Buell, definitely look into that, man. There is so much history with Eric Buell and racing and his role that he played in Harley Davidson. I believe he was a part of the design concepts for the Nova. He also played a role in the chassis and the FXR. There's so much history. If you guys have an opportunity to go to the Barber Museum, there is an area about Buell that tells you so much that you can learn. But of course you can go on YouTube and probably learn a lot about it too. I mean, the fact that you just get it out of the box like this, you can get like a Harley Softail and you would spend so much money to build it out like this with the tall suspension, the Brembo caliper conversion, a Brembo master cylinder, more power in the motor. Like, you will be dropping so much money to build a bike that's already coming like this straight out of the factory. The power, the performance in suspension, braking, the riding position, for me, it hits everything on the money. I'm just gonna say it. I would legit consider selling my Street Bob and getting this bike. That's me. I like to do a little bit of hooligan stuff, and the fact that I could wheelie this thing versus me trying to wheelie my Street Bob, so hard. I was dumping the clutch, but I'm pretty sure, like John was saying, you could probably just roll on throttle and it would definitely lift up. I was doing some clutch dumps where I was kind of doing this and then dumping the clutch, and this thing just went right up. I didn't get to do rolling burnout in it, but I'm gonna just close that here on the way back into destination. So we'll see you guys back over there.
So they're saying this is the stunt one with like a race exhaust on it. We'll give you guys a little treat of the sound at the end. My thoughts on it, wolf in sheep's clothing, honestly. That's what I keep coming back to. It looks like a cruiser. Like if you roll up and somebody didn't know any better and it didn't say Buell or Super Cruiser on the side of it, you would literally see it and think, oh, it's just a cruiser, right? This thing, no, it's the super bike in cruiser clothing. Super responsive, lean angle was great, power delivery is awesome, fast as shit, brakes feel great. I mean, I was impressed. What'd you think?
They could take my money, dude. I want this bike. I don't even care. I said in the video I would trade my bike for one of these. Dude, power, performance, comfortable, like, dude, insane.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, we appreciate being able to get on these things, rep them around. Next time, let's do it at a track. There's not as much traffic.
I think that's a good idea,
Yeah,
honestly.
appreciate that way we can like open them up a bit. If y'all are interested in checking this bike out,
Instagram's probably the best place to catch most of the up-to-date information. BuellMotorcycle.com.
Buell Motorcycle.
And we have a lot of information there.
if you guys want those really hyper-tech specs, head over to their website, check it out. We'll be sure to drop a link down below in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was insightful for the Buell Super Cruiser. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do us a favor, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon also so it sends you notifications of future uploads and activity. We're gonna go jump into the rest of Bike Week, so what's going on. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you next one. Peace.